It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
Hey guys, how is it going? And welcome to the Morning Star Drive on 117.8. It is Wednesday, August 21st, and so happy for you joining us. We are ready to start another day together with the Lord. So subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on SoundCloud, and make sure to support us on Patreon. So today we have an exciting podcast for you. We have Health is Happiness and the Evangelism Scripts Word Study, and of course, commentaries, updates, and news on what is happening around the world in this history today. All right, everyone, how are you doing? It is the middle of the week. It is Wednesday. I am very grateful and thankful for this week already halfway through the third week of my mission. I hope you guys have been enjoying your time also. How have you guys been doing this week? I know that we have Wednesday service tonight, but I'm sure you guys are enjoying your time also. Don't forget we have Q&A Thursday tomorrow and each and every week. So get those questions, send them to me whenever you can. And I will answer to the best of my ability, and I'll let you know if Sunsteam spoke anything on that either. All right. If you haven't yet for today's video, please leave a like and comment to build our community together. I am super excited and happy for everyone joining us every weekday on the Morning Star Drive. So let's get up and support each other each and every day. This week's Sunday message title is God Gives Us the Word and Work That Are Unfathomable. All right. So it is Wednesday, and I am exhausted. What a long day. It's been a super duper crazy long day for my Tuesday, and I'm recording this really late into the night. Just a lot of things for my mission. I played volleyball, picked up some foreign members from Daejeon and stuff like that too. It's been pretty crazy, and So here's something that I'm very excited about. Even though I'm tired, I'm excited about this. Right now, I have 2 pieces of tissue up my nose because it's running and stuff like that. And it kind of feels like I'm getting a little bit sick. But I'm excited because I know that my nose is going to be healed really soon. Like, this is going to be one of those, I'm going to cherish these moments. Take a picture when I have these 2 pieces of tissue up my nose while I'm doing this Rebel Pastor podcast. But it is exciting, don't you guys think? I know you guys are going to miss me blowing my nose during the Rebel Pastor podcast and stuff like that, but I really, really, really find this super exciting that this is going to be the last days of my crazy nose problem. So very grateful. Please pray that the procedure to fix my, I don't even know what you call the cartilage in between, the cartilage that separates your left and right nostril kind of thing, your nasal cavities, but I'm going to get that fixed. I can't wait. Tomorrow, or actually today, after this, like in the morning, I will go, not in the morning, at lunchtime, I will go to check out to see how much it costs and stuff, whether it's worth to wait or just pay it off. Like, I'm going to be doing that. So I'm kind of excited about that too. But yes, I'm excited. Very, very excited about my nose. I don't know. For a lot of people that don't know what's going on, this is something that's super exciting news for me because I've lived with this for 21 years and I know it's going to get fixed, and that makes me super excited. All right. Also, don't forget, guys, the Rebel Pastor podcast is coming out today. So this podcast comes out around 5:30 a.m. Well, in the Asian countries. So this will be coming up pretty soon, 10 a.m. in Korea. So hopefully you guys can join in the live chat room. For those of you in America, by the time you listen to this podcast, that the live chat will be already over, but you can still listen and send it to your friends and such. But yeah, it's been so busy. It's been super busy. I need to actually talk to not CTN, excuse me. Excuse me. When I have these tissues up my nose, it's always ticklish, so it makes me sneeze. But I do got to get on finding a place to record for the Rebel Pastor, so I'm excited about this too. But it's quite a crazy schedule at the moment because of the retreats, and I got to get myself ready. I got to get that recording studio because it's something that's really, really important also. So lots of things to think about, a lot of things to do. I love it. And it's kind of interesting because, especially this week's message, it makes me think a lot more deeply, about not understanding God's thoughts or His ways. It's just too big for me to comprehend, but I need to trust in the process or the system that God is pushing us through, right? So the one thing that does encourage me a lot, especially about my new mission, what I'm doing right now is that the one big thing that a lot of Western countries are saying about me being in my mission is that they feel excited because I am Western and we can communicate without any translation. You know what I mean? And, in some sense, they kind of say that I am the first Western person to be in charge, like a director of IMD. Like the first Western person, even though I'm Korean, right? And I think it is quite significant, and I think that's something that Sunsim is doing on purpose too. And, I think Sunsim was looking for a certain type of person, and I think he wanted someone who was Western to connect with the Westerners out there too. So, I would say there's a good and bad thing about me being Westernized in Korea. So what's the good thing? The good thing is I speak your language, I know your culture. That's the great part. We can connect, right? And it's far different from someone who's studied in a Western country or who just, who studied or lived there for a while. Like it's far different than when you live and you grew up and that's the culture you grew up with, right? So I think that's the great part is communication is going to become so easy. People don't need a translator. They can come directly to me, and that's like a really, really good thing. Now, the bad thing is, this is more of a personal thing for me. The bad part about me being a Western person in Korea is that I'm living in Korea as a Westerner, but my face is Korean. So they think I'm Korean and they have high expectations on me, even though I am Western. But, because I look Korean, there's these expectations. And this is kind of when things are a bit awkward. Like in meetings and stuff, like they expect me to be Korean, but I'm not, right? However, the cool thing is that I can get out of a lot of things because I'm Western. Like for instance, HQ meetings are like, hey, Pastor Sky, would you like to pray in the next meeting to start the next meeting? And I was like, I can't pray in Korean. I only pray in English. And they're like, okay, we'll take you off the list. So I'm no longer on the prayer list for like those meetings and stuff like that too. So that is like some of the benefits that I have. Like I could just say, I'm a foreigner. And they're like, okay, right? So for me, it is, it's pros and cons. And I don't know, guys, but I think you guys should be thankful that I am sacrificing my energy and time being a Westerner inside Korea. So, of course I'm joking. I'm not really serious about that, but I do make, I'm the one living in Korea. I'm the one that has to deal with being a Westerner inside of Korea itself. So I would like to just say that I will sacrifice for the sake of the Western history. Hallelujah. Amen. I'm so stupid sometimes, right? Don't forget, guys, it is a very big day tomorrow. It's the trial, most likely the last one of the appellate trials. So, let's make sure that we really pray well together, make sure that we allow God's will to happen. And I hope that, that this is something that, we're all looking forward to this and hoping that something great will come out of it. We all do have some hope in it too, but let's make sure that, if anything, hope comes when the condition is fulfilled, right? Which means we do need to set and fulfill that condition so that we can set the conditions so that when we have expectation, it's not really good expectation when you don't fulfill your responsibility. So let's make sure we fulfill our responsibility as brides of this history. So yesterday, I went to this monthly head leaders prayer meeting. It just happens monthly in Wilmington, right? And for me, I was super inspired. Like the whole meeting it's quite short, but long at the same time. But it's short. Like you have praise, you have this really short message. I think the message was probably about maybe 20 minutes, maybe. 20 to 25 minutes. And so, and then the biggest time is the time for prayer, okay? So here's the thing. So it's prayer time for Sunsteam, right? It's not like 20 minutes or 30 minutes. It was like 50 minutes. They put aside 50 minutes of prayer. And when they started praying, it's like, I'm kind of like, you start to pray, but you look back and all these head leaders have gathered together and they're just praying for Sunsteam and they are on fire praying. And think about this, guys. It's 50 minutes. And they all drove from all parts of Korea for this 2 p.m. Prayer meeting. Unbelievable. And they're doing this every single month. I thought it was so inspiring. And of course, this is quite impossible to do in Western countries because the countries are so big. And if you're going to do that once a month, people have to fly, and it's going to be super expensive to gather every month. But I was just super inspired and really thankful to be there. And I was like, wow, 50 minutes of prayer. And it was fiery. The people next to me, the people behind, like I was sitting near the front because, I'm part of HQ. I can hear the prayers from the back. I'll take a look back and you can just see people are either super fiery in prayer or they're like in tears. And what was even cooler was while we are praying, they're showing the video of, remember in the past where Sunsteam would show his pre-dawns? Like it would show him praying and you can hear his voice and what he's praying for, right? They're putting that up and we can slightly hear Sunsteam's prayer in the background. And it's crazy because the moment you open your eyes, you look and you see Sunsteam praying. And you can hear him praying. Of course, it's not like really loud, but you can hear him praying. And it's like, man, I got to keep praying. And it just pushes you to pray even more. So I thought that was great. And, for me, you can just really see how different Korea is, and why history started in Korea. It's a completely different world here spiritually. It really is. And just the atmosphere, the spirituality, how people, the deep shimjung of when they pray, of when they pray, it's so deep. And you can see it and you can feel the energy inside the room. Like, wow, these people are praying with their life on the line. And I was kind of sitting there and part of my prayer, it was kind of weird because part of my prayer was, I'm like, God, I don't know if I can keep up with them. I don't know if I'm, you kind of have that imposter syndrome. You're like, God, I don't think I'm good enough to be here. And I kind of just started really praying like, God, I this is a lot. I really, really need your help. And as I'm praying, sometimes you'll forget a topic or not forget it. You'll run out of topics and such, or you've prayed a lot. But the thing that came in my mind was just pray until the end. Stay with me, stay with me. So I'm like going no matter what. Yeah, I'm going to take a drink of water, but still I'm going to push. I'm going to push until that final buzzer when that person's at the front and he's going to pray for everyone. He's like, all right, everyone, please, please end your prayers right now. And it was crazy. I was just like, come on, God, I can do this. And I can feel God cheering me on saying, you can do it. Just hold on. You may not be able, don't get up, don't go to the bathroom, don't do anything, don't just, stop and look outside or whatever it is. Just keep praying. Say something, right? Say something to me and just keep going. And I felt so good that by the end of it, I'm like, oh, wow, the 50 minutes ends. And then the person prays a fiery prayer to end everything else, right? But it was really different. And what was so cool, it was at the very, very end of the prayer. Right when the prayer ends and then it's time for announcements and the announcements finishes, you look outside. Because remember, you're in 316, you look to the right and you see, it's like all windows, right? You get to see all of Wolmyeongdong. It's pouring rain. Like pouring. it's ridiculous how much rain there actually is. It was that like that. It was like a monsoon that just came in, and when you look at that type of rain, it's actually beautiful. It looks, when it rains that hard in Warmingdong, it's beautiful. That's the thing that's so, it's you're like, wow. And you can just sit there, stare, and listen to the rain hit the window and stuff like that too. So it was very, very interesting. So yeah, it was awesome. And one of the benefits of this really, really hard rain is that, when you're in Warmingdong a lot, your car gets super dirty, and the rain gave me the natural car wash. So my car was clean once again. So, the rain was heaven sent in many ways. All right. So, yeah, that's something that I thought was kind of really, really cool to experience. And this happens every month with these head leaders and stuff like that too. Even for me in my mission, I'm starting to see some daylight. Like, I'm starting to kind of, like, I guess the right analogy is like my eyes are starting to open. Like, I'm starting to see what's going, like, I'm starting to, like, the fog, I'm coming out of the fog when it comes to my mission. I'm getting more and more training. I'm still making a ton of mistakes. I'm getting these calls like, hey, think, when you do this, make sure, you think about this. And you think about, it's like, oh, that's so true. That's so true. And I am especially thankful that the people that work with me are especially patient with me. And because the people that work with me have all either were raised in raised or lived in the foreign countries, Western countries, I am thankful they kind of treat me like a foreigner, like not a full Korean. And I don't know if that makes sense, but, I do understand the Korean culture in the basic sense, but I just wasn't really raised in it. Like, it's not part of my DNA. Like, I'm very, very Western, as you know. So it's for them to be that patient with me is something that I am super thankful for. I really am super grateful, thankful for all that. So yeah, that's something I was thinking about, but yeah, things are coming together. And I'm also looking for a new place right now. And I think I'm going to go to the city instead of in the countryside. I'm going to go to Kumsan or something like that because it's going to, it's going to be a 25-minute drive into Warmingdong. But honestly, guys, 25 minutes is nothing. And it's mainly because I don't think I can survive too deep in the countryside. Like, I want to be in the city where things don't close at 7:30 p.m. Because I don't know anyone who eats dinner before 7:30 p.m. or finish their dinner. Like, today, I had my dinner at 8:15. So I think I will fit a little bit better in the city, but only 25 minutes away from Warmingdong. And at least there will be a convenience store open at night just to get a quick fix on my snacking. Well, I guess if you really think about it, being in the countryside stops me from gaining snack weight, Because I need to drive out so far to get a snack, but if I'm in the city, I just walk outside my house and I can get a snack. Yeah, it's I don't know. You know what it is? I think it's kind of weird. It's when you look at human psychology in the mind, we will sin or be tempted depending on what's available. You know what I mean? Like, that will change our actions. Like, just the fact that I can go out and get a snack makes me think about it and makes me tempted to go get a snack. Like, here's something that's very interesting. A friend of mine I was talking to lives in the UK, and he was telling me that there's this amazing drink deal from this one store where you pay £30 a month, which is like what? Like $50 or something like that, right? $50 a month, but you get up to 5 drinks a day, which includes lattes and coffees and like teas and tea lot. Like, that's pretty crazy, but you get 5 drinks a day for just £30 a month. And it's like, wow, just 5 drinks. Like, probably each drink is going to be like £4, which means that's like £20 for one day. You know what I mean? Like, I think they should have done it where they should have done like 3 drinks or something else like that. But you get up to 5 drinks a day. And I was talking to him like, do you get, it's like, oh, of course, I get the 5 drinks every day. I'm like, if you didn't have the deal, would you get 5 drinks? He's like, oh no, there's no way I would drink 5 drinks, right? But it's because it's available. He'll do it. But if there is no option, we wouldn't even think about it. So I'm thinking that being in the countryside has this huge advantage because there's limited options to do anything. Like I can totally see the huge psychological effect. And I think maybe it's the same with sin because what is available in front of us makes us more susceptible to it since it becomes a real option. Like you can't steal unless there's something to steal, right? Like I'm here in the countryside. What can I steal? I can steal a tree. I can steal a branch, right? I can steal like a rock on the ground or something like that. There's nothing to steal, right? There's nothing you really, really want. Or like, so say for little kids, they say that the best age to start giving kids a phone is like the age 13. But, you know, what happens to these kids is when they have the phone in front of them, they have access to media and games, right? But the phone isn't there. They just can't be tempted, right? So it's a very, very interesting mental exercise just to see what things you do because, you know, it goes by what is available. What is available in front of you right now? And I think that's kind of the big question, right? And that's something that I was thinking about also, right? So it's very, very interesting. And I don't know. I was thinking about that this morning too. You know what? Like here's the thing that I think as I'm doing my mission. You know, one of the biggest things and one of the biggest, greatest, most joyful and hardest things that we deal with every day is people. Like, people give us the greatest joy. It's amazing. You're like, oh my goodness, this is awesome. This is amazing. This is this and this is that. Wow, this is something so special, right? But also, because of people, you're going to go through the hardest times. And I remember that was one of the hardest things for me when I was a head leader. It's just dealing with people, and that's not an easy thing to do, right? And I was thinking to myself is like, wow, dealing with people is that hard. It really is. Like, it's that hard because it has to do with your temperament, your patience, your perseverance. It has to do with your character, your style. Like there's so many different things that will either benefit or hurt you when it comes to when it comes to you like dealing with people. And what I found very interesting about myself right now at 45, turning 46 in 2 weeks, not that you guys really need to know that I'm turning 46 in 2 weeks. I'm not going to say my birthday's on September 6th because there's no need for me to say it, right? No need, right? But either way, as I'm here about to turn 46, I noticed something very, very different about the way I talk, like the way I'm talking to people right now. It's very different, like super different. I would say that when I was a lot younger, way more competitive, way more stubborn, and you know, you're trying to get something done. I'm not sure if that's the right way. Like you're trying to push an agenda. You're trying to push something. You know what I mean? Like you're like, oh, you know, why don't you listen to me? Or you think that, or sometimes you think that your idea is a better idea. So you kind of push it more. But here I am about to turn 46. And it's interesting because I can kind of look at myself. And you know, in the past, when you want to say something, you get an urge like, oh, I got to say this. But now, it's not that I don't want to say it. I think I'm better at discerning whether it's worth it or not. Like, what is the repercussion of me trying to push something or say something? And, you know, it's kind of like what I talked about on Monday. is like when we're trying to raise leaders, it's not so much telling leaders what to do and tell them, well, Sunseam did this, so you have to do it like that. No, it's not like that at all. It's more of helping people to make up their own mind. And it's not about you saying, do this. It's more about, hey, have you thought about this option? You haven't, right? Think about this too. Pray about it. You make your choice because this is something that you need to do. So I thought about this and I was like, oh, that's very, very interesting. And it's something that I thought was, it was something that I looked at and said, oh, I have slightly changed. I really have. And the way that I talk to people, listen to people, I believe it's a bit different now than what it was before. And it makes me look at providence, and it makes me say, like, or it makes me acknowledge. It makes me acknowledge that, wow, providence and the word, it really changes us for the better. It really does. And this is something that I'm super thankful for because I gained a lot of experience, right? I'm gaining a lot of experience as I move forward. I'm gaining a lot of experience through the different missions that I did. And through those missions, I went through a ton of hardships, and most of it was my own fault because I just wasn't fully developed. I wasn't someone who made myself that great, Like I made myself in certain areas like skills, like lecturing, like preaching, and these different types of things. But the thing that takes a lot more time is my character. And I think a lot of times we only look at development of ourselves as like a skill that we're building up, where God is more talking about not so much the skill that is building up. He wants us to look at God is wanting us to not just look at the skills to develop ourselves in, but it's about the changing of character. And I think there's this one Bible verse, okay? And I'm gonna find this one. And I really, really like this one because Paul talks about this. Give me a second here. Like, I hope you guys can still hear me. Leads to, 1 second. Is it Romans chapter 5? Is this it? Yeah, this is the verse. Romans chapter 5, verses 3 through 5. And it says, not only so, but we also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope. And hope does not put us to shame, because God's love has been poured out into our hearts through the Holy Spirit who has been given to us. And I think that a lot of us too, and a lot of times by our own faults, we go through sufferings. But it produces perseverance. What else does it produce? Well, perseverance produces character. And then character produces hope. And I think that's one of the great benefits that we have to understand when it comes to the great benefit of going through suffering. And we do go through it. We really do. We go through this suffering. And as we go through this suffering, it's building our perseverance. Because, we're like, if you're suffering like Job did, you can't stop the suffering until the suffering stops. So you have to keep pushing and pushing and holding yourself and persevering. But that is actually building our character. It builds our, our perseverance. It builds our resilience. It builds our patience, right? It builds all these things. And it's quite amazing. When I look at this verse, suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance produces character. And I thought that was quite a powerful verse from Romans chapter 5, verses 3 and 4. And I think that a lot of people who become leaders, regardless if you are made or not, you're going to go through suffering. And that suffering is going to build that character of ours. And I hope it's something that, as Paul said, we also glory in our sufferings because of what it produces, right? In the end, the great character produces hope. And I think that's something that we have to look at and say, yeah, how much hope do we gain when we realize how much we've changed, how much better we've become in our lives? So that is something that I was thinking about. And I was like, yeah, this is, I kind of get to see the different things that have changed in my heart and in my character. And, I'm not really as competitive. Like, I'm competitive when it comes to sports, but altogether, it's at this age right now, I feel a lot more relaxed. Meaning, I kind of get to see what's a big deal and what's not a big deal because I've been through so many different things and cycles in this history, right? So, for me, it's 26 years. Like the end of September will be 26 years and working on my 27th from that point on. So I am very, very excited about it and something that I do look forward to too. But yeah, I hope that all of us can also look at ourselves and kind of look at ourselves from a very objective view and see where we changed. Because, a lot of us, when we see our own lives, we know we know our bad parts. We really do. And even when we're about to do our bad thing, we kind of know, right? We kind of know the bad thing we're about to do, right? So that is something that I was thinking about and something that, I don't know. Tell me what you guys think about this too. Guys, go ahead, write it in the comments below. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this also. Okay? So yeah, that's the segment number 1 I wanted to go over with you guys. Before we get to the evangelism scripts, let's move into the first music break of the day. So let's get into today's word study. And of course, every single Wednesday, we are having the evangelism scripts word study. And this is something that I actually have been thinking a lot about because I think, and this is, I had a really, really good conversation with some other countries. And I was trying to figure out what is something that I can do to help other countries. Especially in my position, I will be traveling a lot. I will be visiting other countries and such too. Of course, I think the most important thing is going to be delivering the Lord's Shimjung, delivering the message of God, right? Like, I think that's going to be something that's very, very important. But I think, I know that that's going to be the most important thing, that Sunseam is going to give me a certain thing that I really need to do in each country. But the thing that I think I can do and help the most in is a thing that I do best, which is more of on the evangelism side. Like, when I was a head leader in New York, there were many things I was not confident in, but the one thing I was absolutely confident in was evangelism, like 100%. That was the thing that I thought, you know what, if there's anything I can do in that, it was that. And I spent a lot of my time lecturing and evangelizing people. And what happened was I was able to, that's where our church in those 3 years grew the fastest out of any other church. I think in the 3 years, it was like 43 or something people that were evangelized in those 3 years. And even 1 year, we had half of them in 1 year. One of the years, it was like 23 people that passed in the 1 year. And then the other one, I forget what it was, like 11 or 13 the first year. And it was something else like this too, but we ended up passing like 43 people in 3 years, which I thought was, well, it was the best in, at that time. And I was like, you know what? If there's anything I'm confident in, it is actually evangelism. And it's something that I do think we have to really, we really need to do well in. Because remember, the reason why I started these evangelism scripts, the whole reason is because all these campus members and all these people that do go out on campus, or the people that do want to evangelize, but they don't, because they don't know what to say, And because they don't know what to say, they're kind of stuck and they're kind of scared. Like, I don't know what to say, so what's the point of me going out if I don't even know what to say? And that's true. Because if you don't know what to say, you don't have any confidence. If you don't have any confidence, I would say that's one of the bigger issues that happens to people who try to evangelize. Remember that story that Sunseam gave where he saw a con man, and this con man was just telling everybody how great this game was, and people watch and see people losing their money, but people just lining up to lose their money. And Sunseam's looking at this guy like, what the heck? Here is this con man, and people are lining up to lose their money. It's obviously a con, but everyone's going to them. Yet, there is a preacher who has truth, and no one goes to them. And what Sunseam realized at that time was what? It was about confidence, right? It's like, do you have the confidence or not? Do you have the conviction? Because if you speak with confidence and conviction, then people believe you. And even if it's a con, they'll still go to it, right? And that's one of the big problems is if we don't have that confidence, if we don't have that conviction to just be so absolute when we talk to people, this is where we lose out, even though we have the absolute truth. Right? And I thought that was something that is very important for us to understand, is the only way you gain confidence is when you practice. The only way you gain is when you study, when you put your life on the line to do it better, right? That's something we really, really have to do. And once you get the confidence from that point on, it's very easy to evangelize. Not easy to evangelize, but you can convince people a lot more because they see that you truly, truly believe it, right? I would say one of the second things that really matter is, evangelism, what Sunseam says is like giving back. It's like you owe God. You owe God. But then he also says it's about love. But then you're like, but owing is a little bit different than love, right? Because it kind of guilts you into evangelism. It's like, well, if it wasn't for God, you'd go to hell. So you got to pay God back kind of thing. And sometimes this concept of owing God is hard to grasp, to inspire and motivate you to evangelize. And like there's those verses out there like 1 Peter chapter 1 verse 18, 19. It says like, for you know that it was not with perishable things such as silver or gold that you were redeemed from the empty way of life handed down to you from your ancestors, but with the precious blood of Christ, a lamb without blemish or defect. Right? You are redeemed with Jesus' blood. In 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 19-20, he says, do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own. You were bought at a price. Therefore, honor God with your bodies. And if you think about that, talk about pressure. Hey, guess what? You were bought. And you're like, what? Yeah. The Bible is saying you were bought. So it's like you don't even belong to yourself. You belong to God. So do whatever God says. And when you think about this, it kind of throws love out the door, doesn't it? It does. You're like, love is like, oh, that's... So it's like, I'm in debt, so I have to pay it back. And I would say we need to look at that in a different way, where we still owe, we're still in debt, right? So let me give an example of how owing can still be done out of love, right? If we're in the Old Testament time, we are bought at a price and we owe, and it's a servant mindset, right? But imagine when it comes to someone you love so much, and then out of nowhere, they do something so amazing for you. And, you know, in the hardest time, they get you a gift or they buy you dinner, whatever it is. Now, when someone you love, like someone you really, really love, and they buy you dinner or they buy you something, how do you feel? Do you sit there and say, oh, I owe them, I'm in debt? Or do you think, you know what? I want to do something good for them now. I really, really want to, you know what, I'm going to get the next dinner, but I'm going to make sure it's even better. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not you feel the owing, right? But it's completely out of love that you just want to do something so amazing for them. And you're so moved because they did something for you that you want to repay them with something even better or nicer. And it's not really that feeling of I'm in debt, I owe them. Oh no, the burden of owing someone back. No, it's completely out of love. And I think that's where our minds have to switch, where it's no longer just like, oh, you owe me. It's more of, wow, you did this for me. I am so moved. I am so thankful kind of thing, right? And I think that's the way that we have to kind of see it, right? So that is something that I was thinking about is like, yeah, sometimes we have to look at how we have been saved and we've been plucked out from death. And imagine that someone you love so much who saved your life. What wouldn't you do for them? It's not about you owing them. Like you owe it to them because you love them that much and you can't believe that they did that for you. You know what I mean? So I think the mentality and the mindset has to change. Like imagine your lover does something as a surprise to you and it's such an amazing thing that happened. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so thankful. Wow. And then you feel it in your heart like, wow, you know what? I want to make them happy too. I'm going to get them something that they really want also. And it's totally not done out of this owing mentality. It's really done out of, you know what? I love this person. So I hope that's something that can be one of the attitudes that you can have, right? So I hope that's something that you guys can think about also. And that's kind of just some of the little education that I want you to give to you today when it comes to us starting to evangelize again. All right? So there it is, guys. That is the end of today's evangelism scripts. Just a little bit of education on that. I hope it's something that you guys can gain a lot from. And yeah, if you have any questions about evangelism, just put it in the comments below. We'd love to hear what you guys think about that also. All right? So yeah, that is the end of segment number 2. And before we get into health is happiness, let's move into the last music break of the day.
Yeah, rise up to the challenge, armed with the word and action, belt to the truth, fastened, shield of faith in one hand, sword of the spirit I'm slaying, no mercy I'm praying. Everyone thinks I lost, but now I'm turning Super Saiyan. I gotta be new, gotta be great, I only gotta win this thing. Fix mistakes, fix who I am, all I wanna do is change. Gotta be brave, gotta be tough, no more time for delaying. It's just training, all those times of pain. Off, pushing my limits, only with God. I'm trying to be better, I'm trying to feel God. Enemies watching, they want you to fall, but you have to be better, you have to give it your all. Every day I make myself, but I know it's not easy. This is the life I chose and I know my spirit's breathing. The battle has only begun and I may take damage, but if I fall, all I know how to do one thing. Rise up to the challenge, armed with the word and action, belt to the truth, fastened, shield of faith in one hand, sword of the spirit I'm slaying, no mercy I'm praying. Everyone thinks I lost, but now I'm turning Super Saiyan. I'm Goku turning Super Saiyan, I'm charged up, now I'm playing. On the mount like Sinai, I connect with God like Wi-Fi. Receive the word, always praying, spiritual path where I'm staying. Everyone thinks I lost, but I'm always with him, so you know I'm prevailing. Protecting myself from Satan, armed with the truth, now my angels will shoot like. Now I'm at my truest form, I'm trying to really be the greatest. The power level can't contain it, my energy is never draining. Look how far we have made it, unlocking levels, never hesitating. There's no try, you can just do it or don't, so fix your thoughts instead. Everybody makes mistakes, just gotta take notes, can afford to do it again. Life is so easy, if you just do what is right and just follow what's real. Victory comes through skill, gotta stay on course, time to kill. Time to rise and shine, thinking of the past and never forget. God is Lord, by your side, holding your hand, dry your eyes, trust in the Lord every night and day. He'll never let you go, don't fall away. Be bold, be brave, and with all your heart, love the Lord to the end of time. Rise up to the challenge, armed with the word and action, held to the truth, fastened, shield of faith in one hand, sword of the spirit I'm slaying, no mercy I'm praying. Everyone thinks I lost, but I'm turning Super Saiyan.
Okay, so let's move into our final segment for today's Wednesday podcast. Hope you guys have enjoyed it thus far. And of course, we're going into part 3 by Dr. Zinni about health tips in your 20s. I know you guys are going to enjoy this. So without further ado, please welcome all the way over there in the beautiful country of Canada. This is Dr. Zinni with Health is Happiness.
Hi everyone, Dr. Zinni here, and welcome to another episode of Health is Happiness. A few weeks ago, I reviewed some tips on how to maintain good health while you're young, in your 20s. Today, I'm going to finish off those tips, so as you'll see, all the same health choices you make while you're young has an impact when you're older, plus a few extra tips as we age. So here are the final few tips when you're in your 20s. The first is getting good sleep. Julie's did a 4-part series on sleep already, so I'm not going to regurgitate the nitty-gritty details. But to summarize, after a good night's sleep, your body and muscles get to repair and restore itself, the brain gets to flush out all that extraneous junk information it doesn't need, it gets to reorganize the thought networks and consolidate memories. And sleep impacts almost everything in your body, affecting your cognition, muscles, joints, metabolism, mood, and your immune system. If you're sleep deprived in the short term, your energy, mood, judgment, and ability to focus are affected. You have trouble remembering things, and you make more errors in whatever you do, and you probably appear more grumpy to the people around you. In the long term, lack of sleep is associated with many chronic health problems. It's associated with obesity. It triples your risk for type 2 diabetes. It depresses your immune system. Did you know that you're 4 times more likely to get a cold when you're sleep deprived? Heart disease. Did you know that long-term sleep deprivation increases your risk by 48%? Strokes. You're also more likely to have arthritis problems, thyroid dysfunction, and Alzheimer's dementia. It's pretty scary, right? Hearing all those medical conditions related to long-term poor sleep. Don't worry, I gotcha. I'll give you some tips of how to get good sleep. Why does lack of sleep put me at risk for heart disease, stroke, obesity, and diabetes? In one study, men who got only 4 hours of sleep had increased ghrelin and decreased leptin compared to those who got 10 hours of sleep. So ghrelin promotes hunger, and leptin contributes to feeling full. This dysregulation of ghrelin and leptin may lead to increased appetite and diminished feelings of fullness in people who are sleep deprived. In addition, several studies have also shown that sleep deprivation affects food preferences. So sleep-deprived individuals tend to choose foods that are high in calories and carbohydrates, and sleep-deprived participants chose snacks with twice as much fat as those who slept at least 8 hours. Another study found that sleeping too little prompts people to eat bigger portions of all foods, increasing weight gain. And in a review of 18 studies, researchers found that lack of sleep led to increased cravings for energy-dense, high-carbohydrate foods. Now, not only does sleep deprivation change your hormones and cause you different eating habits, but also sleep itself allows increased melatonin and decreased cortisol, which can have a host of good health benefits. Let's talk about melatonin for a second. Many people know that your circadian rhythm is regulated by the hormone melatonin. Melatonin is produced by the pineal gland in the middle of your brain. When you're exposed to more daylight, melatonin falls and cortisol rises, so you feel alert and awake. When you're exposed to less light, such as at nighttime, your melatonin levels rise and cortisol levels drop, and you feel sleepy. Adenosine also builds up during wakefulness and increases your need to sleep. But did you know that melatonin helps with fat loss and muscle gain? People in fitness know this well. If you get a good night's sleep, you'll get better muscle building, and you'll be more likely to lose weight or burn off fat. In a small randomized controlled trial, researchers studied how melatonin affected body composition, lipid levels, and glucose metabolism in postmenopausal women. Menopause is a time in a woman's life where it's difficult to lose body fat and gain muscle. These women were supplemented with melatonin, either 1 milligram or 3 milligrams nightly, or a placebo for a full year. The women's body compositions were measured using a DEXA scan prior to and after the trial period. What they found was that those who had supplemented with melatonin showed a decreased fat mass by 7% compared to placebo. They were also able to increase their lean mass by 2.9% more compared to the placebo group. So melatonin can help reduce body fat composition by fat burning. Supplementing with melatonin for 12 months could help reduce body fat, increase lean mass, and increase levels of adiponectin, which improves fat burning. Other research shows that melatonin also protects athletes from muscle damage. Oxidative stress occurs in response to intense exercise. This state can lead to muscle fatigue and damage along with decreased energy. Because melatonin contains antioxidant properties, it's been shown to reduce exercise-induced oxidative stress in resistance-trained athletes. In a study, athletes taking melatonin had reduced levels of harmful chemicals and less exercise-induced muscle damage compared to the placebo group. Interestingly, their total cholesterol levels were also reduced in the melatonin group compared to the placebo group. So other studies also show the benefit of melatonin on our health beyond sleep: anti-aging, brain health, cancer prevention, cognitive function during the natural aging process, decreased inflammation, heart health, reduced hypertension, reduced risk of heart attacks. Sleep promotes fat oxidation and decreased cholesterol levels, improved GI health, gastrointestinal health, improved immune system, improved mood. Wow, hearing the benefits of melatonin, you might be tempted to go out and buy some melatonin supplements. But don't do that. These supplements are sold over the counter at doses 1, 3, 5, or 10 milligrams. The physiological amount of melatonin in your body secreted at night is only 0.1 to 0.5 milligrams. Too much melatonin can actually raise our body's levels of hormone even during the day, which can alter our normal day-night circadian rhythm, causing daytime drowsiness and also vivid dreams and nightmares. And there's also currently no evidence-based, widely agreed upon, recommended dose for melatonin supplements. So the best way to get proper melatonin is through good sleep. And if you have to take melatonin due to insomnia from shift working or jet lag, start with the lowest dose possible and then move upwards until you get your desired effect. So now we're going to talk about how to get good sleep. First of all, how much sleep do you need? During sleep, you usually pass through 5 stages that takes 90 minutes or 1.5 hours. In stages 3 and 4 of sleep, which we collectively call deep sleep, this is where most of the repair, healing, and restoration is done. REM sleep is where dreaming occurs, but it isn't as restorative as the stages 3 and 4. For a good night's sleep, your body needs to cycle through all 5 stages of sleep at least 4 to 5 times. In other words, at least 4 to 5 times of 90 minutes, or 6 to 7.5 hours. Obviously, your sleep requirements will depend on your age and your individual constitution. Second of all, when do you sleep? So here's the tip. Listen closely. Studies have shown that your body repairs the most between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. Even if you did get 8 hours of sleep from 12 p.m. to 8 a.m., it is not as restorative as sleeping from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. During the early hours of the night, your body spends more time in the non-REM sleep, the deepest stage of sleep, when your body restores and recovers. Later during the night, the length of your non-REM sleep actually decreases while the duration of the lighter, less restful REM sleep increases. So you can still do pre-dawn. You just have to shift your hours of sleep to include the 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. period. That's why you'll see people with early morning obligations, like surgeons and people who have to wake up really early for work. They'll go to bed by 8:30 or 9 p.m. the night before. Third of all, you want to practice good sleep hygiene. Reduce the use of electronics before going to bed. Harvard researchers found that the blue light emitted from these devices can disrupt your body's natural circadian rhythm and suppress melatonin. You want to set the same sleep time and wake time, regardless of weekends or days off, as best as you can in your circumstances. Light exercise in the early evening also promotes good sleep. Alcohol is known to fragment sleep. And having a bedtime routine to wind down with relaxing music, a warm bath, or anything else that is not too stimulating is helpful. It's also important that you associate your bedroom with sleep and not as a place of work or stress. It's also best if caffeine can be avoided after 12 p.m. on any given day. The next health tip in your 20s is to start a skin regimen early. So your skin in your 20s probably doesn't show signs of aging yet, but laying the foundation for years to come will only help your skin in the long run. It's important to wear daily sunscreen, use an exfoliating cleanser, and moisturize with a good product once or twice daily. The next health tip is you should also avoid substances or developing any addictive habits that consume your time and energy in a negative way. This is less of a problem in Providence, but during the teens and 20s is when some people experiment with drugs because they're curious. So this means don't even start. The list of harm from using alcohol, smoking, and other substances goes on and is well known, so I won't go into detail here. My final tip for maintaining health in your 20s. You want to develop good coping strategies to reduce stress. This means don't ignore your mental health and develop a good support network and protocol for dealing with it. For detailed explanations of relaxation techniques and cognitive behavioral therapy, please refer to my previous episodes on Health is Happiness. Okay, there you have it. 7 major health tips to start in your 20s. It's important to build healthy habits when you're young. For tips of how to build healthy habits, Julius did an episode of Building Healthy Habits on a previous episode of Health is Happiness, so you can review it there. So to summarize, in your 20s, learn to cook and prepare your own meals. This includes choosing foods with antioxidants, omega-3s, low cholesterol, low sugar, low salt, high fiber, and foods that replenish your gut flora. Spend some time in nature, but protect yourself from dangerous UV rays. Exercise opportunistically and frequently. avoid drugs and substances, get good sleep, and learn good coping strategies for mental health, stress, and time management early. Build these good habits, and all of your hard work will reflect positively when you get older. So, we're out of time today. Next time, we will discuss health tips in your 40s, which is relevant to both myself and Pastor Sky. We will add on a few tips that are relevant to how our bodies change when we age. Until next time on Health is Happiness.
And that is another wonderful big thank you to Dr. Zinni for another wonderful episode of Health is Happiness. That was part 3 on health tips for people in their 20s, which is a lot of you out there. Hope you guys enjoyed it. That's the end of today's podcast. Everyone, have an amazing day. Have an amazing Wednesday service. And we'll see you guys again tomorrow on the Morning Star Drive on 117.8.
It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and feel your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion